majadiliano muhimu sana kuhusu lugha za Afrika. Should Swahili be our language? Keep calm and hakuna matata. This South African firebrand Julius Malema proposing that Swahili become an African language, an official African language. South African schools will start teaching KiSwahili to students from 2020. Fantastic. You can listen to this YouTube and you will find all the stuff there. There are students in South Africa. Swahili comes to South Africa. Fantastic, great. More websites for you to study there. But what you realize is that when you go to Africa today and perhaps for a long time to come, according to this tripsurvey.com, you have to use a number of words to say thank you in several African languages. Why? Why is Africa Francophone Africa, Portuguese East Africa, Commonwealth Africa, Arabic Africa, and also Indigenous Africa? Enkos, Nyabonga, Danki is Afrikaans, Ke Aleboha is Setswana, Webale is Luganda, Asante is Swahili, Amasegenalo is Amharic, Shukran is Arabic, Merci is French. Why should it be like this? Why? When you go to Ghana today, recently, they have already adopted French as the second official language. There's the Minister of Education, Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh. So what's going on here? We are told that in 2018, Ghana signed the Linguistic Pact with La Francophonie for improved technical support and capacity building for the teaching and learning of French. Why? You can read more from this website which was released, a speech released by the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Ghana, why they are adopting that. Let us go a little bit deeper here and say we have become Euro-minded. We black people have become so Euro-minded. Even yours truly, Priest Teacher Rabbi L.M. Dwizzle, is using English now. We hold in highest esteem and respect anyone who speaks the Queen's language, English, very well. In countries like Zimbabwe, you won't get a job or proceed to university if you fail English, even if you have distinctions and flying colors in mathematics, physics, and chemistry, or even if you are an inventor, even if you are a genius, they will tell you to pass English first. If you go in some villages in Zimbabwe and you pray in the local language, they will stop you calmly and ask that someone repeat after you in English. That's how we have become so colonized. So you find countries like Uganda. Why is Uganda fast tracking itself into Mandarin? Read more from this website. The Chinese are excited. Why? Because African student numbers in China have jumped and skyrocketed in the last few years. You see, like that. So why is that these explosive numbers of Africans are learning Chinese? What's going on? What's the problem? Why can't we learn our own language? Why can't we adopt our own African indigenous language? What's the problem? You see, these are in Uganda, Africans, black people, Bantus, inauguration ceremony for Chinese test center and Chinese contest. So the Chinese are funding and giving money for all this. Why? Why should this be like that? Who should Africa follow? That's the question. The British, the Europeans, the French, or the Chinese? It's time to repent. The hour of change is now. But should Swahili be our language? If yes, why? If no, why not? Lakini ni moja ni Swahili, lugha bora kwa Afrika. Should we learn Swahili? Or we adopt another one? Is Swahili an African language? Anyway, let us be open-minded and see where this language came from. Right, you see here, but not long after Arab and Bantu first met on the east and southeast littoral of Africa, there seems to have been a greater fusion of interest between them than between Arab and Kushite, Gala and Somali. The Arabs took the stock language of the Zanjan group somewhere on the coast between the Pangani or Rufu River and the Ruvuma and turned it into the Swahili tongue of commerce that we know so well at the present day. The easiest and most widely spread of the Bantu languages. So can you see who crafted and promoted that language? You can also get a book, this book, A Comparative Study of the Bantu and Semi-Bantu Languages by Sir Harry Johnson. This one, very thick book. You can get it from Oxford. It's for Forgotten Books, reprint classics. It's quite clear when you look at this that Swahili, which we want to adopt as our language, is not really, honestly, originally our language. Now, it says here, consequently, though the merchants of Southwest Arabia, who acted as important intermediaries in the Indian trade with the Roman Empire in Egypt, may have conveyed slaves from the Zanjian coasts and islands to Egyptian slave market, it is doubtful whether these brought with them any Bantu syllables into the medley of tongues talked in the Mediterranean basin. So already we can see that there is a lot of stories here. And we have to think seriously about what original language literally teach the next generation. Swahili should be only a bridge to that original language. And we're going to look at what type of language we should already start to learn now. And I want to suggest early now that we should craft a language along the hieroglyphics. Because once we do that, we are putting ourselves in the most advantageous position ever. Swahili should just be used as a bridge. That's my opinion, and I think it is important. Thank you. Let's continue to look at this in detail. So we have realized that Swahili came from the amalgamation of the Arabic language. More proof that it came from enslavers. On the other hand, there is Sita 6, Saba 7, and Tisa 9. These are borrowed from Arabic. The Arabic word Tisa actually is replacing the Bantu word Kenda for 9. Therefore, Swahili language also absorbed words from other languages like Portuguese, who controlled Swahili coastal towns. So accordingly, we have seen that it is an amalgamation of a colonizing language or a colonizing people. The Swahili language also borrowed some words from languages of the later colonial powers like English, German, French, and many others. So it is clear that Swahili is not a pure Afro speech. It is very clear then on the other side that our political leaders in Africa are fast asleep and are willingly selling out, or they are being blackmailed. There is more to why China, France, the British, the Portuguese, Muslims, and many others insist that black people ditch their tongue and learn theirs. Why don't they teach Zulu or any African language en masse in primary schools in France or China? These people, the colonizers and the enslavers, have studied us for years and studied our languages for years, for centuries when we were fast asleep. They know something about our language that we are unaware of. For instance, they know that as long as we speak and use our original tongue, we will be able to withstand any pressure they bring upon us. Let's prove that there are scholars and think tanks that have studied our language. And then when we say, let us adopt a language for Africa, we should be very smart. We have already seen the disadvantage of KiSwahili. Blick was born in Yemen in 1827. He studied at Bonn University. His attention was directed to the arrangement of South African languages and the affinities of Hottentot speech. So they started the groundwork, the foundation of Bantu language, which is the oldest language. He published a dissertation, and his ability attracted the British, and they used his advice for their political games, for their political gamesmanship. That's what Harrison says. That's what scholars say. That's the proof. We are reading now inside the sentences. We are reading between the words and knowing what to find and what to look for. The Reverend Dr. J.L. Kraft issued from the Tübingen University Press vocabularies of 6 East African languages in 1850, a vocabulary of Wakwafi of Maasai. Dr. Peter's travels took place 1842-1848. Languages, studying and absorbing languages. Bleek moved to Cape Town in 1856 to study us. He accompanied a bishop, a Christian. There is also Dr. W.A. Baiki, who was in Niger. Kraft authored a number of Arabic and Swahili and studied them and produced languages. Johann Repman produced a dictionary in the language of Nyanja in 1853-1855. Captain Cook came all the way right up to Australia. All Malagasy languages, he studied them and produced works on them. Why? Why did the writers do that? Why did they do that? Because they are engaged in what is known as native identity distortion. You have never heard this. NID, that's where you get your national identity card. It's actually a national identity distortion program. Millions of black melanated people today refuse to be called Bantu. But look at this way. Spiritual compound entity called Bantu. Discounting prefixes. Mu to a human being. Mu means inside. It means inside a thing. That's what it means. Bantu men means all people, masses of people. Kintu or Kantu is a thing. It's a car. Remember the car, the Egyptian car? There it is. It's a thing. And the Bintu or Tuntu is things or Tunu. Small little things. That's where you put otokolosh or ghost and stuff like that. And the Pa-tu. Pa means place. Tu means it's inside the place. On the earth. On the earth. Panu. Lu-tu means quality. Or untu. Ubuntu means buntu. Means quality. Unu. That's the philosophy. Now, all this was done. All this, what we are saying here, this present information of the present volume through the kindness of Bleek's ultimate successor, Dr. L. Peringway. These are professors, these are doctors, done theses that have studied philosophy and they've come and studied our language. They know what we think, and I'm giving you the clue that you must learn this language. You must learn a Bantu language. There are words, old Bantu, which is very rich language, very rich, very, very rich words in Bantu language. So what's the solution to all these problems that we're facing? The solution to all this is to save your soul first. How do you do that? First, by readopting your ancestry via totems. Mastering any Afro full or field language full of Ubuntu. Mastering any indigenous language, that's a key. I can assure you, Swahili should be an African language for commerce and economics and transactions only. But for music, spirituality, and many other intricate games that we should play, let us bend towards indigenous African languages or Bantu, which is mixed with hieroglyphics. Heed this message and save your soul, your own soul. This is the best we can do now. Hamiti Bru Ethics tells you that you must do these 2 actions promptly or daily, as soon as possible. 1, solidify your personal relationship with the creator of our ancestors by acknowledging your ancestors totemically in your indigenous tongue daily. 2, supporting and networking with like-minded individuals, or get in touch with Hamiti Buru Ethics, where we can have an agenda that enhances your relationship with the creator of your ancestors as well as your ancestor or ancestors. Learn hieroglyphics pronto. Maarifa Development Organization. There is power in your native tongue, native language. Bantu nativity is our natural identity. And Bantu speak connects our soul to our creator. Mandarin connects your soul to the red dragon. French connects your soul to the French. You are not a French. You are a Bantu. Be a Bantu. Master your Bantu language today. Language is a huge game changer. You win, you lose. You should learn more. You can buy this book, study more, go deeper in understanding Ubuntu or Bantu. Tutaonana, nafurahi kukuona. Kwaheri, lala salama. Ancestors days, we still remember our ancestors. Enslavement and colonization. Today we are facing mental and linguistic colonization. It is time that we say we shall never forget our own languages and our own ancestors. Subscribe to Committee Hebrew Ethics. Tatenda Siyabonga. Thank you. This is Spiritual Rabbi L.M. Dumizulu. This is our email. Goodbye.